At first, the woman thought she was looking at nothing more than a large pit, but when she walked closer, she discovered it was actually a massive footprint. What on earth could have left such an enormous print? According to the two elderly residents, their dog had been barking incessantly outside that evening. They assumed it had spotted a stranger and didn't think much of it. Suddenly, the house began to shake violently. They immediately took shelter in the basement. The entire house then suffered intense impacts, as if struck by an earthquake. An hour later, they emerged from the basement to assess the situation, only to be stunned by what they saw. Their house had been reduced to rubble, as if something had forcefully smashed it to pieces. Two gigantic footprints remained on the ground. After hearing the elderly couple's account, Captain John suspected the culprit might be a giant creature. Yet despite following the tracks and searching within a 100-kilometer radius, they found nothing. The monster had seemingly vanished into thin air. What they couldn't have imagined was that the creature was camouflaged among the mountains, disguised like stone. To track down the creature, Amy sought out an archaeology professor who had been studying these giant beings for over a decade. Back then, everyone thought he was insane and even had him institutionalized for a period. Only now, with new evidence about the monster surfacing, did they realize the professor's theories weren't baseless. They brought the professor to where the monster had disappeared. Drawing on years of experience, he immediately noticed something off about the soil scent. Seeing the professor onto something, Amy hurried to follow. Comparing the terrain with maps he'd made over a decade ago, the professor discovered the topography was completely wrong. There was even an extra mountain that shouldn't exist. Just as he was about to examine the maps more closely, the mountain behind them suddenly opened an eye. Amy sensed something was wrong. Turning around, she saw an enormous eye staring directly at them. Neither could believe what they were witnessing. What had appeared to be a small mountain peak had transformed into a colossal monster. They immediately boarded a helicopter and fled. The creature's appearance quickly sparked widespread panic. Moreover, the mountain range where the giant dwelled lay directly in the path of their planned railway construction. The professor urged everyone not to destroy the monster's habitat and to coexist peacefully with it. However, driven by profit, the men refused to listen and even deployed military forces to eliminate the creature. The troops soon took up positions in the forest, waiting for the monster to appear. Late that night, the creature's silhouette emerged in the distance. Strangely, just as it was about to leave the forest, it stopped in its tracks. The professor speculated it had detected the scent of humans. At that moment, the captain suddenly ordered the attack. However, the artillery shells hitting the monster were like mere scratches, not only failing to destroy it, but thoroughly enraging it instead.